Hi everyone, I'm Natsuko. I'm just a regular office worker living in Japan. Today I'll be making omurice, a Japanese-style omelette stuffed with rice. When people think of omurice, they often imagine it's really tricky since you are supposed to wrap the rice neatly without tilling the omelette. But don't worry, today I'll show you a recipe that works perfectly even if the egg breaks. First, let's cook the rice. That's the most important part. I sometimes realize after I've finished cooking everything else that I forgot to make the rice. So yeah, don't be like me. Next, let's prep the ingredients for the tomato sauce. First, finely chop some garlic and then roughly chop an onion. In a frying pan or a small pot, melt some butter and add the garlic and onion. Saute them until the onion turns nice and translucent. Once the onion looks good, add about half a can of tomatoes. That's roughly 200 grams. Cook it down until the liquid reduces and it turns into a simple tomato sauce. Now let's prepare the rice filling that goes inside the omurice. First, cut some chicken thighs into small pieces. Since they will be mixed with rice and tomato sauce later, try to make them bite-sized so they feel natural when you eat them together. Next, heat some olive oil in a frying pan or pot. Season the chicken with salt and pepper and cook until it's fully done. Once the chicken is cooked through, add half of the tomato sauce we just made, along with about 1/3 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and rice. The rice I cooked in a clay pot looks so good! Do you guys usually cook your rice in a rice cooker? If you live with someone, the keep warm function on a rice cooker is super handy. But since I live alone, I really enjoy cooking rice in a clay pot. It just tastes so much better, don't you think? After adding the rice into the pan, give everything a light stir fry. You can cook it as much as you like, depending on your taste. But for me, once the rice, tomato sauce, and seasonings are nicely mixed together, that's when it's done. The other half of the tomato base will be used as the sauce for the omurice. To that half, add about 50 milliliters of water, half a teaspoon of chicken bouillon, half a teaspoon of sugar, and some black pepper. Warm it up and let it thicken to the consistency you like. Personally, I'm not a fan of really runny sauces. I like it when it's not too thick, but still a little bit rich and smooth. By the way, if you've ever had omurice in Japan, you probably know that it's usually topped with ketchup. But since I'm not a big fan of sweet sauces and I also want my everyday meals to be a bit more nutritious, I make mine with tomato sauce instead. Of course, if you like drawing little messages or pictures with ketchup on your omurice, you could just mix all the tomato sauce into the rice and keep the ketchup on top. Finally, let's cook the eggs. Crack 2 eggs into a bowl, add a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoon of water and whisk them well. Since we want to place the eggs over the rice while they are still soft and creamy, go ahead and serve the rice onto a plate now. If your rice has cooled down a bit, you can quickly warm it up here. Alright, time to cook the eggs. Add about 5 grams of butter and a teaspoon of olive oil to a frying pan and let it melt. Make sure the pan is well heated, but switch to low heat just before you pour in the eggs. That makes it easier to get them right. Pour in the eggs and gently push them from the edges toward the center to create soft folds. After a little while, the bottom of the eggs will start to set and become firm enough to handle. Once they reach that point, turn off the heat and carefully place the eggs on top of the rice. This is the most nerve-wracking moment, but don't worry, this recipe is pretty much fail-proof. Just take your time and gently slide the eggs over the rice. Yes, as you can see, it tore a little bit, but that's okay because we made tomato sauce for this. Just pour the sauce right over the tear, and like magic, it turns into a perfect omurice. For the finishing touch, sprinkle on a little dried parsley. Ta-da! My omurice is ready and it looks absolutely delicious. The eggs are soft and creamy, the tomato sauce is shiny and rich, and the rice is packed with savory chicken flavor. Alright, let's dig in. And as always, let's light a candle first. By the way, I know I light candles a lot. And yes, I do like candles, but that's not the only reason. In this apartment, there's no outlet near my dining table. A portable light would mean charging it all the time, which is kind of a hassle. So, candles it is. Wow, I'm really so happy that my omurice turned out this good. Egg dishes are always a little tricky, right? I actually cook pretty often, but yesterday, for the first time in my life, I managed to make an egg explode in my microwave. I was making a salad pasta and thought, oh, I'll just add a soft-boiled egg on top. So I microwaved the egg, even though I poked plenty of holes in it. Suddenly, there was this huge bang. When I opened the microwave, everything was covered in water. I cleaned it up like crazy after that, but honestly, even when I was reheating something else later, I couldn't relax. And for the rest of the day, every loud noise totally freaked me out. Has anyone else ever had an egg disaster before? It would actually make me feel a lot better if you shared your stories in the comments. Have you ever heard of a maid cafe? If you are not familiar with Japanese culture, it might sound a little surprising, but in Japan there are cafes where women dressed in gothic Lolita maid outfits serve food. And apparently, omurice is one of the things they serve there. They even draw little hearts or cute messages on the omurice with ketchup as part of the service. Usually, it's known as a place that otaku or anime fans go to. So honestly, I don't even know exactly where these cafes are. But since I was born in Japan, I kind of feel like I should try it at least once, just to be served by a maid. If anyone's been before, let me know. Do you think it's okay for a woman to go alone? It feels like in the past 10 years or so, anime has really become mainstream. Here in Japan, maybe 15 years ago, anime still had this kind of underground image, and there was a lot of prejudice around it. But these days, everyone watches anime and I don't really feel any stigma anymore. Of course, I guess it depends on the genre. I watch anime pretty often too. Recently, I was watching the Apothecary Diaries, and I absolutely love Freed and Beyond Journey's End. When season 1 ended, I completely lost my motivation at work for a while. I'm just hanging in there until season 2 starts this January. Totally different vibe, but I also watched the My Melody anime on Netflix, actually twice, because it was surprisingly fun. And today I started an anime called Chi, on the movements of the earth, but honestly, the first episode was so intense it almost scared me off. A lot of modern anime have really dark or scary scenes, which can be tough sometimes. From all the series, I really enjoyed the Fate and Psychopaths. If you have any anime recommendations, please let me know. Alright, that's it for today. I'm so glad the omurice turned out delicious. See you in the next video. Bye for now.